emotional intuition. And again, another one of my favourite subjects. I think I keep doing that. And the reason why I'm calling it emotional intuition and not empathy is going to be made completely apparent in a little bit. Okay, so let's just cover what people think it means. So we know about empathy because it's supposed to be a business skill. It's supposed to be something that we do for our mental health or the mental health of other people, where we listen to somebody talking, having a moan, having a hard time, and we empathise with how they're feeling. And that might be that we repeat back to them words that they're saying so that we can really prove that they're listening. I find it annoying when people do that to me, but that's because I know what they're doing, so it doesn't feel genuine, it feels fake. But that's just me. I'm also a ranter. And energetically, if you're a ranter, you just want to be allowed to rant. And you want to rant and forget what you've said, because when you're ranting, what you're saying is not coming from the best of you. So when someone else repeats it back to you, you go, oh, I am such a twat. So never repeat back empathetically to a ranter. They don't want to know. But when somebody is really talking about how they're feeling and they're really not in a good place, it can save lives to be able to be in a position where you can really feel how somebody feels and connect with them. Don't ever say, I know how you feel, because that's also very annoying. But empathy, when it's at its furthest realm, is when we can sometimes pick up other people's feelings like they're our own feelings. So you might walk past a homeless person, clap eyes on them, like eye-to-eye contact is a really big way in which empathy works. So you may get eye-to-eye contact with someone who's going through a rough time and it feels like something has just hit you in the solar plexus. And as we talk more, I'm gonna talk to you a lot about chakras and stuff as well when we get to the collective consciousness part of this course. So that kind of like feeling of sort of connection with somebody who's not having a great time, you can feel it yourself. Now, on day one, when we did somatic intuition, I asked you to go and sit in the chair of somebody or be in somebody's energy in some way. And we also did the water and Coke or whatever it was that you decided to use that you shouldn't be drinking, water and arsenic. And you could feel your body moving towards it or away from it. Okay. So the same thing can happen with our empathy. We can have this feeling that we feel somebody's energy. And again, it's linked to our somatic intuition and how we feel things in our body, as well as this being our emotions, because what happens is you feel it in your body and it changes your emotions. Now, bringing that into mental intuition, I told you I'd link all of these things up. It's like I planned it. So when you look at like your mental intuition, what ends up happening there is you can have like you connect with somebody, you can feel it in your body, that translates it into emotions, and then that goes up into the right hemisphere of the brain, and you're able to kind of discern it into understanding what the feeling is. So when you have your own feeling, your mental intuition is brilliant. So for example, if you're feeling happy, you smile or clap your hands. Anyway, if you're feeling happy, you smile. However, if you smile, your brain ends up with a similar level of chemicals as if you were happy and you had created the smile. The smile creates the chemicals. Amazing. So when you're picking up somebody else's energy, it's like you're picking it up in your energy system. So it starts at the solar plexus. So your solar plexus chakra, and I will go through all of the chakras. You've got your base chakra, you've got your sacral chakra, you've got your solar plexus, heart, throat. And actually, I didn't need to learn it with this song. I learned it anyway. I'm just now singing. And it's not like the times tables, you know. And then you've got your crown chakra and you've got your third eye. I did it the wrong way around. I confused myself. I should have been singing, you see. And so your solar plexus kind of stands out from your body, and it's yellow, like the colour of my top that you can't see if you're looking at on Clubhouse. So it's yellow, and it goes out and it frisks people for information. Oh, hello, are you safe? Now, if you've had some kind of trauma in your past, then when your solar plexus is working, it's really like going, oh, okay, so I've been hurt in the past and I need to make sure that people are safe. Yes, I'm going to tell you the story. Okay, that took me a second. I was attacked when I was backpacking in Australia. Live to tell the tale. I actually beat the guy up, strangely. I didn't exactly beat him up, but we ended up on the floor and I got up, which means he was still on the floor and on the floor for some time. And when he did get up, because I'd stopped, he ran and I ran after him. So I guess that means I kind of beat the guy out. That's what the police said anyway. However, it was quite traumatic and quite scary. And just because I had a happy outcome, not everybody's outcome is happy, but I have a trigger response if someone's walking along behind me, which resulted in me walking in the middle of the road last year and getting picked up by the police. That's an entirely different story. But I can feel in my energy system when there's people around me, and I have a very active solar plexus for frisking people for information to see if they're safe because of that particular trauma. So you may have had people who drip traumaed you, and you may have a very active solar plexus. And what this means is it's a side dish to becoming really highly empathic. So you can pick up other people's feelings because your solar plexus is literally leaving the body and going and frisking people for information. Any of you who are public speakers, you will stand on stage and you will frisk the entire audience. Although I didn't do this when I was talking to over 1,000 people, because that's exhausting. But you will work out, if you've got a small audience, who is going to be the person that wants to ask you the challenging question, and the people who have got the smiley faces or the energy is great, so you know who to pitch at to create a collective consciousness that will spread out throughout the auditorium. That's all your solar plexus's work. If you are a psychotherapist, a healer, somebody who's just bloody nice, you will frisk people to see what problems they have, because you are kind of programmed by your own choices. I have to say that because you can turn this off, but you're programmed by your own choices to pick up who needs help. And we talked a little bit to Sandy about this, but you will pick up who needs help, and you will pick up what's wrong with people. You will pick up, when I see a client, it's like they make a sound. It's not auditory, I can't hear the sound, but I hear people like they're making sound. And you can hear whether or not someone's sound is off. You know, you make that joke about kind of like the moaning people. I've got some sympathy. It's the smallest violin in the world. Well, I can hear whether or not somebody has an out of tune sound, and it does sound a bit. And because I've studied so many different things, psychotherapy, psychology, I've just studied loads of things. Didn't decide to do an exam in a lot of them, but absolutely went headlong into studying it. I can now connect the sound with either something going on in someone's psychology or trauma in their past. So, and this is going to sound nuts, and how long the trauma has been there. So I can literally say to somebody, when you were 8 years old, something really traumatic happened and you made a decision, and that decision has now become a limiting belief. And they would go, oh my God, you're really spooky. How did you know that when I was 8 years old, this thing happened? And sometimes I'm 1 year out, but I don't get a t-shirt from Radio 2. So sometimes I'm kind of like a year or something out. And I've stopped doing some of this in my consultations because I lose the client. They spend the rest of the session going, oh my God, how do you know this stuff? And I'd rather actually just kind of heal the problem. So I might say something like, in your childhood, such and such happened, rather than pinpointing the date, just so that they think I'm amazing, because then they get lost in me rather than actually what I'm saying and where we're going with it. Anyway, that's a little side dish. So when you're connecting and you're feeling these things, you can really start to pinpoint where they come from if you're a therapist, and it can really save your client a hell of a lot of money and a hell of a lot of time by being in your therapist chair while we talk through their entire life to find out where the limiting belief is. I don't always believe in going backwards anyway. I really believe in positive psychology. So back to the intuition, which is what we're actually supposed to be talking about. But that made a point for any of you who want to use this either to help your friends, to help your family, or with clients. I think that's quite an important thing to know, that you can actually be really accurate about how people feel. So we frisk people for information, we get that information, and depending on whether or not we are a self-protective person, or whether or not we are a healing person, or just a really lovely person, will depend on what we're looking for in terms of somebody's feelings and how we can support them. And that's what we're picking up. So some people can have a really extreme level of this, and they call themselves empaths. But to me, I think, okay, if we unpack what an empath is, are you born with empathy, or is it developed because of what went on in your childhood? Well, the jury's out. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure if it's learned behaviour due to self-protection, seagulls. I'm not sure if it's learned behaviour due to self-protection, or whether or not it's something that's kind of coming up for you because of, I don't know, past lives, who knows? They do attract narcissists. They do attract people who can't feel all of the feels, because an empath will feel all of the feels and sometimes feel all of the feels all at once. It's about intention. If you change your intention, if you say, I don't intend to feel all of the feels, and especially if you say, I'm not healing today, I'm not. I'm going to have a day of self-care. I'm just going to have a day where I don't want to feel all of the feels. Your solar plexus will respond accordingly, because your chakras respond to your psychology. So I'm sorry, people who think that they can have their chakras balanced, aligned, or whatever. You can, but then they'll go back to what they were before if your psychology hasn't changed. So your chakras, if you've been hurt, your heart's going to close. Your chakras work on your psychology, not the other way around. So if you want to go out and heal people, your chakras will behave, your solar plexus will behave completely accordingly. So if you decide, I don't want to do that, it stops happening. It just stops. It stops happening. So it's all about intentions. And I know that people like to walk around with a bra full of crystals. It's really awkward when you take it off at night, especially with a new partner. But if you want a bra full of crystals, or you feel that you need to be surrounded by spider plants, or turn around 3 times and spit, or psychic protection, any of that is just about intention. So all of that is marketing, buying the crystals, all that. There may be power in crystals, I'm not denying it. However, the greatest power is your intention. It's the power of free will. So if my intention is to stop trying to protect myself, then my solar plexus won't be frisking everybody for information. If I have self-faith in myself that I am the Karate Kid, my solar plexus will not go around frisking people for information. So in that regard, you can control the empathy that you pick up from people who are struggling or unhappy. So you can turn it on as a practitioner, you can turn it off when the session has finished. You can even have it half open if you want. You can do what you want. It's all about your intention, and your body will react to it accordingly, and your intuition will react accordingly, which is great, which is why we have to have purpose. Remember I was saying love, purpose. Oh, what was the other one? Curiosity. So I said about that, and that's because you are setting an intention, and intuition works powerfully with intention. So purpose is intention, and that's really important. Intention, turn it on. Intention, turn it off. Gone back to the Karate Kid. Wax on, wax off. Okay. Now here's the thing. Why is it that we spend so much time going on about, oh, I'm an empath, I really pick up other people's negative emotions? Well, you lucky thing, because that sounds quite awful, doesn't it? However, the reason why I've called this class emotional intuition is because you can also pick up happiness. You can pick up happiness from other people. No, that's mental, isn't it? So it's not about just walking around picking up everybody's doom and gloom and frisking homeless people. And actually that's illegal. It is also about joie de vivre being contagious, about how happiness is contagious, about being around someone who has 0 Fs is contagious, about that, being in a room with somebody who has that. So here's your homework. I know you were worried that the homework was going to be go and sit in the chair of a miserable person. No, I want you to find the happiest freaking person that you can possibly find. This may involve you drinking an awful lot of coffee. You may be going from one cafe shop to another, trying to find a good looking, funny barista. You can find them. And you know, I used to be a waitress and I loved it because I could literally walk from one table to another, just happiness. I was infectious. And, you know, that, me, piece of cake and a cup of coffee, happy days. And then I went to work at Häagen-Dazs in Leicester Square. Me, scoop of ice cream, unbelievable. Put that with a chocolate topping. So you can absolutely be a contagious light. Now, I always think that this area over our heart chakra here, you know, I'm doing it again, I'm showing you, but you can't see. So this area over your heart, you know, we fill it with stuff, don't we? Because we feel empty. There's a great big massive hole over our heart. So we feel empty. So we start filling it with stuff and we kind of go, oh, I need more stuff. I'll get some Nike shoes, cake, aforementioned, coffee, all of these things going into this area here. But actually, it's kind of like a light shade. It's a light shade for the love that we shine out and the light that we shine out and the brightness that we shine out. And so when we realize that, we stop feeling empty and we stop trying to fill up ourselves with stuff, cake, sex, whatever we're trying to fill ourselves up with. Oh, when we open, the light comes out. The light comes out. And it's only our fear that turns that around so that it becomes a hole of darkness and we want to fill it. We feel empty. So my challenge to you today, and we'll come back at 5:30 to discuss how it went. My challenge to you is to see how you can open your heart, is to see how much love you can bring into the room, to see how much joy you can bring into the room, but no pressure. The other element of this is that I would like you to feel other people's emotions, but I want you to focus on the happy emotions. And for those of you who have an outgoing personality, because not all of us do, for those of you who do have an outgoing personality, see who you can change the emotion of. So what I mean by that is just chuck someone a smile. They will say, oh, if someone's not smiling, give them yours. However, sometimes that happens and they don't smile back and you go, like a balloon that just had the air taken out of it. So try and kind of just get this feel of somebody's emotion changed because of your action. So compliment somebody's hair. Say something nice. Just say something nice and watch the shift happen. Now, you may, when I set this aside, find somebody who can't receive love. So when you say, oh, your hair looks nice, or I love your shoes, or that's an excellent kind of like cufflink you have there, or thanks for the coffee, nice flower, you know, cappuccino art. So whenever you're kind of trying to kind of give that, if ever you feel something comes back to you that goes kind of like a, it's a technical term, it just feels off, it'll be because somebody's heart's really closed. And don't try with you a nice, lovely, warm crowbar to try and open it. Just give them a smile and get out of the way, because that can actually be a little bit damaging. So this exercise does come with a slight warning: avoid assholes. No, I mean, people with closed hearts are not assholes, but what I mean is that just look after yourself while you're doing it. Sometimes people can't receive love. Sometimes there's a blockage there. So if you're nice to somebody and they kind of can't feel it and don't respond and their emotion doesn't change, it doesn't mean that you're not very good at changing people's emotions. It just means that some people can't take it. But I just want you to feel the joy, the absolute joy of making someone feel good. And you can feel with your emotional intuition how that shift changes. And by doing this is kind of like the baby step, the first baby step, I guess, on how to read other people. Even though we were reading energy in the class on Monday with the somatic intuition, and any of you are going, I've missed this, go into my bio at the moment. This is on Clubhouse for people who are watching on Clubhouse, because I'm filming it as well. Go to my bio, go find me on Instagram, and you will see I have filmed this and the first two classes. They're split into two halves of 15 minutes because I didn't realise that IGTV can't do half an hour. So they're split into two halves, which is great actually, because 15-minute cake and coffee. I'm doing it again. sorry, by now, if you haven't had your coffee, you're going to be desperate for one. So yes, so that you can catch up on this. Also, if you're on Clubhouse at the moment and you want to ask a question during the day, then put it on Instagram, either DM me or put it underneath the film. If you are watching this and you're not on Clubhouse, put a question in the comments and I will respond, because what we're going to do on Clubhouse is meet back at 5:30 for Q&A, questions, experiences, what happened to you, what worked, what didn't work, what did you find, and who got a date. Because one of the things about opening your heart and about curiosity and purpose, and I'm giving you a purpose through the exercise, is I don't know about you, but when I go traveling and I'm looking at the sky and the tops of buildings and market stalls and how amazing everything looks and comparing it to home, I'm so curious that I end up like the chances of me meeting someone relationship wise is quadrupled, because I'm glowing in curiosity. Now, when you come back to the place where you live, and it might be the same route to work or the same route you walk your dog or whatever, and basically you're not curious because you've done it a million times, nobody notices you. It's like you don't exist. You know, it's like when you're happy, people smile at you, but when you're unhappy, they don't. It's like you suddenly become glowing. And in that glowing, people start to notice you, and your chance of meeting somebody or making a friend or meeting somebody who can support you or help you, or you can help and support. Because this is the thing, you know, when we're talking about emotional intuition, there is the synchronicity when you are engaged with your emotional intuition to meet people who I would say the universe has just cast in front of you. So when we set an intention, and your intention might be, I thoroughly intend to, you know, meet someone in a relationship, and then your curiosity helps you lead that to that person. You take the dog on a different route, you get talking to another dog walker. Or you set an intention, I intend to meet somebody who can help me make £1 million. And then you suddenly get talking to somebody who ends up telling you a business idea that they don't want to do, that you end up doing, and you make £1 million. Okay, I'm still waiting for that, but I haven't set an intention for that. Maybe I just have. So when you set an intention for something that you want to heal or fix in your life, you will meet the people who can allow that to happen. Now, I know I've gone very Celestine prophecy on you. And if any of you have read that book, it really is a book about meeting the right people in the right place at the right time for the right thing. And sometimes when I'm in a flow state throughout my life, I say throughout my life, my flow states don't last that long. So when I'm in a flow state, that happens all the time. The synchronicities happen all of the time. The patterns happen all the time. Looking at the clock, it's 11:11. Oh my God, all of that, all the time. Now, I had a client, and I don't think you'll mind me sharing this with you. He was a professional poker player. I've met quite a few of these, and most of them that I've met are loaded. If only I could play intuitive poker, if only I could stay up past 9:30 at night, because most of these poker games take place like really, really late into the night. Now, he was using his intuition, but more than that, he was in a flow state. So what do we mean by flow states? Flow states are just like when you are raised, we talked about this yesterday. I don't like the idea of raised consciousness, because it's very egoic. This is better than that. Oh, I've got raised consciousness. I'm a spiritual guru. I've got raised consciousness, and everyone else is a model. Well, gets on my nerves. Clearly, ranty rant. So when you are open and expansive, let's call it expansive consciousness, because I like that so much more. When you are in your expanded consciousness, closer to love than fear in your emotions. And let's look at that as we've talked about vibration, because everything is made of sound. So some people say that they can see auras, but your eyes can't see auras. Your eyes see light bouncing off solid objects. That's how they see. And actually, it sees everything as upside down. Yeah. And the brain interprets it to be the right way up. Isn't that mad? So the brain interpretation on what you can see is vital. Like there could be a green, very hairy alien in this room, but because my brain can't perceive it, I can't see it. Hello, hairy alien, just in case. So what ends up happening is our brain filters. So it can put things in place that are also not there. So if you perceive an aura, you will see the vibrational colour of that aura because you're perceiving the vibration, which your brain perceives as a colour, which is how I perceive sound, because I'm very auditory. I worked in radio, I'm very auditory. I can hear a hum like you wouldn't believe. Like if there's a tapping or a hum in a car, you'll end up with your stuffing removed from your seats whilst I find that freaking hum. I can't stand it, it drives me nuts. So I'm very, very auditory. So if you perceive things like things are making sound, then you actually start to be able to see that sound. So things are made of vibration. So back to this idea of raising your frequency, you imagine that the sound of kind of your lower emotions is down here. That's as low as I can do without making a big double chin. So even sometimes sometimes I look like a bulldog shoved into an oversized jumper, like a really tight jumper, like loads of chins, just saying. So you've got do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, love, but more kind of in tune. So love is that la, and fear is la. So we even talk about people as, oh, they're really low vibration. We even talk about, I'm feeling down, I'm feeling up, I'm feeling happy. So our emotions go on a spectrum of vibration. And as you tune into people, you can tune into the spectrum of vibration of emotion that they're feeling. And you can feel frequency throughout your whole body, throughout your whole energy system, and especially through the solar plexus, which takes that vibration, puts it into your sacral chakra, it goes into your gut brain uses the vagus nerve to send it up through your body to the brain in your head, and the brain in your head goes, oh, they're feeling a bit down. Now, bizarrely, the vagus nerve can take up to half an hour. So for those of you who are like, I realise like 20 minutes later, that makes sense. For those of you who have a fast moving vagus nerve, but this is why we also have this energy system outside of our body so that we can also pick up all of this frequency. Back to my story about the poker player, because I know you were worried about him. So this poker player was making loads of money because he was in this flow state. What is a flow state? A flow state is la. A flow state is when you're closer to love than fear. If you imagine humanity resonates with la and you're la. And for some people who are higher vibration, they can sometimes spend their life going la 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 la. Oh, I can't find this frequency of human. La. No, can't, no. So for some of us, we spend our entire lives as people who were born on a different frequency of vibration, trying to fit in with humanity. So people who go, I don't fit in, I don't connect with people, in any room I'm the odd one out. It could be because you're vibrating at a frequency that's closer to love than it is to the normal human frequency, which can be really difficult when you're watching the news and everyone's going, oh, this is really serious. And you're going, not really, it's not really that serious at all. So you don't buy into fear-based selling. You don't buy into news-based bollocks. You don't buy into that because you can see through it, because you're a frequency that is higher than fear. So, and it's the same thing when you're talking to somebody who's like, oh, I'm so worried about this. If you're not worried about it, you can give them great sense. And that's also because you remain in the prefrontal cortex of your brain and not in the amygdala, which is not a great place to be if you want to have a brilliant idea. Back to my poker player. So he was winning, he was in a flow state, he was loving his life, everything was brilliant. And then he drove past a bunch of builders at 3 o'clock in the morning working on the road, and they were working really hard. I know cones, you don't believe that they work hard, but they do. So he sees them working hard and he goes, whoa, I have got £1 million sitting in a bag in the back of my car, and these guys are going to be working all night for an absolute pittance. And he felt guilt, and that feeling of guilt lowered his vibration, and guess what happened? He stopped winning games. He got out of his flow state, stopped winning games. getting out of your intuition, getting out of flow states can happen that quickly. It can really happen that quickly because it's all about intention. He'd set a new intention. He'd set an intention to lose because he felt guilty about winning. So when you want to have the law of attraction manifestation, be in the zone, be in the vibe, be in the whatever it is, the vortex. Vortex is probably like a, I can't even probably hear it. Otherwise I would be living in £1 million house now. I'd have manifested it. I think it's just a loud squeak. I think it's beyond a high C, but I'm sure that you can achieve it. And I'm sure that ever so often you get into it yourself. Cool. And breathe. I know you worry I'm going to pass out, but honestly, I can talk without breathing. It's amazing. I have gills. I do. So homework, go and feel all of the feels of a person who is happy. Go and create happiness in other people, no pressure. I shall see you back on Clubhouse at 5:30. If you want to get ahead of all of this work, go over to my website. There's a link in my bio and Instagram that will take you to a free, completely free course, which is called the Listening Series. And it's all about, it's a multimedia course, all about how to use your intuition to listen to other people. So, you know, without the words, they don't say anything. So go and have a look at that course. Also, there's a membership that's starting in July where you can have this once a month and a meditation to help you keep your frequency high so that you can stay in a flow state. So that's the support. It's a monthly kind of thing, every other week. Meditation, talking, meditation, talking. I say talking, it's teaching. So that is £15 a month UK, which is just freaking pittance really, but not as cheap as Netflix. So you will get the opportunity, and I mean, Stranger Things is very good. So you can get the opportunity to do that if you want to keep going. I also have, you do know, Learn to Act on Intuition Instantly, which is my book. And also you can book one-to-one consultations with me. And that's all the marketing stuff I always forget to do. So good luck today. I'll see you at 5:30, or put your questions in Instagram and I look forward to receiving them. All right, you take care. Have a really, really amazing day. Hope that you have the best, happiest day ever. All right, take care. Bye.